Hi, hello everybody, I'm Justin. This is Koopa. Welcome to Koopa's Corner. Today we're going to talk about WWE's premium live event, Clash in Italy. It's this upcoming Saturday. That would be May the 31st. Because they're in Italy, it's going to have a weird start time. It's going to be like 2 p.m., I think, Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. So do with that as you will. Assuming you have made the jump to ESPN in the first place. Apologize for not getting a Saturday night's main event video out. Just real busy week. Didn't get around to making a video. That's all. No other excuses. But let's move past Saturday night's main event, and we're going to talk about Clash in Italy. There are 5 matches advertised for the card in Italy. And we're going to start off with Femi versus Brock Lesnar. I don't like this. I've been vocal enough on the channel before that I think the WWE Universe is a little too quick to forgive Brock for the accusations that were brought up against him. And quite frankly, this match happened at WrestleMania, and Oba basically squashed Brock Lesnar feigned retirement. I don't think Brock should have retired. I think Brock should have come back for one final match, but I don't think that match should be against Oba again. Oba squashed him. Leave it as that. This doesn't need to be more than that, right? I think Brock should be facing Gunther and be retired once and for all at the hands of Gunther, right? The career killer needs that for that gimmick to really work. He needs to put a couple more names out. So this could kind of go either way. This is probably the one that I'm torn about the most, right? WWE history has taught us that it's likely Lesnar will win and then set up a third match, probably SummerSlam, because it's 1-1. Now they need a third match to see who's really the best. So I think Lesnar's going to win for that reason. But there's an argument to be made, a very good argument, that Oba should win, and not only should win, but potentially squash again, just like he did at WrestleMania. And, this causes Lesnar to kind of lose his shit, to kind of freak out a little bit, to wonder if he still got it, and to, ultimately lead into that third match that way. I think that is a much more interesting way for this to go. But WWE, they tend to rely on a lot of tropes, and one of them is one person wins, then another person wins, and now they need a third match to split the difference, right? So I think Lesnar's going to win. Becky Lynch and Ruca is up next. Becky's defending her Intercontinental Women's Championship against Ruca. Becky has been phenomenal as the Intercontinental Champion. She absolutely has. She, made Maxine look a lot better than she is. She made Lyra look a lot better than she is. She made AJ shine and brought some of that old magic back out of AJ. And so Becky is not only the best wrestler in the world today, and it's not just me saying it, but she's also one of the most selfless, and she's really doing everything in her power to help build stars. So this match is going to be exactly that, right? This is a showcase for Ruca. Now, the question is, does Ruca win the title, right? Because there's no doubt Becky's going to make her look like $1 million. Does she win the title, or do they stretch this out a little bit more? Honestly, Sol's in her kind of infancy in her WWE main roster career, and as impressive as she's been, she's messed up her own finisher on more than one occasion. She comes across still as maybe a little bit green, as maybe needing a little bit more experience. I think she's got all the makings to be a huge player in the women's division, but does she win the Intercontinental Championship here and now in Italy? I think it's very likely that she does. I would argue that it's probably more beneficial that she doesn't, and she stays on the chase just a little bit longer, with her crowning moment coming, probably SummerSlam, and they run this back one more time. There probably needs to be another wonky finish, which is not going to be something a lot of fans enjoy. But I really think that she just needs that little bit more time. This feud needs to go on just a little bit longer to make her look really good, for that win to mean a little bit more. There's also the argument that she wins the title and then Becky wins back later and continues doing what she's doing now. But honestly, Soul seems great. I think she's got a bright future. I don't want to see Becky drop the title, personally, as a fan. I think Becky's doing phenomenally well as champion, and like I said, I can't wait to see who she elevates next. So I'd really like to see her continue this and not necessarily move on from it, just because I know there's a lot of good stories that could be told in the coming months by leaving the title with Becky, or ultimately ending the feud with the title with Becky, even if Soul wins it and then kind of drops it back to her later, right? So either way, I think whether it's this event or just the end of the feud, I think Becky should ultimately keep the title, just for that reason. But now, here and now in Italy, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to predict Becky. I'm going to think likely. They see, or they seem to see, right, by the way they present her, Soul as a bigger star than a Maxine, than a Lyra, even than an AJ Lee, who they do treat like a big star, but as somebody who they know is part-time and is going away for a while, right? So I don't think there was really any question about those women taking the title from Becky. I think Soul leaves this feud with the title, for better or for worse. So I think that Becky probably retains it tonight. They get one more chance at SummerSlam. All right. From there, let's move on to the WWE Women's Championship with Rhea Ripley defending it against Jade Cargill in a WrestleMania rematch. This is a tough one because Jade can't really afford to lose again. She hasn't really looked that great. Mia Yim and B-Fab don't exactly make a great stable, or a great faction, whatever you want to call them. But, their star power is not nearly as much as Jade's, and rather than elevating them, they do get elevated a little, but rather than mostly elevating them, it sort of feels like they're pulling Jade down a little. So, maybe not all the way down. Maybe it's a little of this, where they kind of meet more in the middle. But I think they're more of a hindrance than a help for Jade. I know she's a heel. You want to get her that heat. She has her little henchmen doing shit. But based off of her look and just her muscle, she's just too much of a powerhouse to need henchmen. I think it does more harm than good. So she can't really afford the loss here. However, Rhea Ripley is the biggest star in the company by far. And I think that her title reign has just begun. They moved her from Raw to SmackDown for this, so I don't think that was in vain. And if the whole point was for Jade to walk away from the feud with the title anyway, then why put Rhea over at WrestleMania? Jade could have had a really big moment at WrestleMania. So I think Rhea retains. And, we move on. And Rhea gets to face some fresh talent on SmackDown that she didn't get to face on Raw. And hopefully Jade moves on to something relevant as well. Right, there's two more matches now. The next one is the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes defending against the Ring General, Gunther. And I think that Gunther should win this. Point blank. I'm not the biggest Cody fan. And he's held the title for a while. He retained at WrestleMania in a story that had more downs than ups against a legend like Randy Orton. But now he's up against somebody who is... best years are not in the past like Randy Orton's. I like Randy Orton. I'm a big Randy Orton fan. I've been around most of his career. I would love to see him win 15. I would love to see him win 16. To see him win 17 even. But WrestleMania was not it. And so Cody retained. He's had the title for a while. I think it's time to freshen up the title picture. Gunther is a legitimate star. He's a present-day player. He's got a lot of upside to him. And I want to see Gunther win the title. And I want to see him go on to defend the title in a title versus career match against Brock Lesnar. I want to see him potentially retire Randy Orton whenever Randy Orton is ready to it. You know, obviously not this year, but at some point I want to see him retire Rey Mysterio. I like the idea of the career killer. I think Gunther kind of gets trashed a little bit more than necessary because he's got that old school bruiser style, kind of slow-paced style in the ring. He's not the flashiest person in the ring. His psychology is sound. I think he's really just got a good character, and I just think it's a matter of presenting him the right way. And I think winning the title here is huge, especially because he already lost against Cody at Crown Jewel. So this time, I think he needs the W. So I'm going Gunther. And then the final match we have for Clash in Italy is Tribal Combat. Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. There are some who might argue Jacob Fatu should win this. Roman just won the title at WrestleMania from CM Punk. I think it's a little too soon for him to drop the title. And I think that the story is significantly more interesting with a Jacob Fatu loss. With him being pulled into the bloodline, with him having to acknowledge Reigns before eventually snapping and turning on him down the road and getting another title shot down the road. But for now, you pull him in, you make him part of the bloodline. Reigns goes through a few more opponents, in the coming months. And then we're talking visiting this matchup again, maybe the Royal Rumble, maybe WrestleMania. For now, Roman should retain. And so that's it. That's Clash in Italy. Again, Saturday, May 31st, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Guys, let me know in the comments which match you're most excited about. Should be a pretty decent card. It looks like on paper anyway. All of these matches are rematches, but they all have the potential to be good matches and to steal the show. We're going to have to wait and see which one does it. I won't be watching since the jump to ESPN. I don't really watch the PLEs anymore, just because ESPN is like $30 a month, whereas Peacock was like $9.99. But I will be following along at the internet, so pretty excited for it. It's a lot better card than a B-level event like Clash should be. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.